Hey, welcome to Table Tennis Philosophy. What I want to talk about today is creating your own training drills. Now, a lot of people want to train but don't really have a lot of direction on how to do it. Maybe they don't have a coach. Maybe they don't have access to some of the information or just are being overloaded by information on drills. But let me just tell you a few things that I've discovered with working with players that I've worked with and how you can come up with some drills and just my general guidelines. Some other coaches may have a little different approach. First question is, do these need to be structured drills or more of a random drill? Structured drill would be something like hit one backhand, hit one forehand, just alternate between backhands and forehands. You know where the ball is coming each time. It's easy for a coach to block one left, one right, and that'd be a very structured, very simple drill. That's actually something that is a drill that's very helpful when people are starting off. Anybody that's been coached even for a little while should be able to do that drill pretty easily. And that's an example of structure, okay? The opposite would be playing out points or even playing a match. That's completely unstructured. You need that as well, but you're gonna need that more and more as you develop as a player. The structured drills are easier for most people, but somewhere in between there are drills that are structured but simulate match play a little bit more. Like I said, when you first start off, it's very structured. One forehand, one backhand, just, the Falkenberg drill, if you're familiar with that, backhand from the backhand corner, pivot, forehand, and then from the backhand corner, forehand from the forehand corner. Great drill. You probably could do that for the rest of your life and it would always be beneficial. But there are some things that particular drill doesn't do, although it's great with footwork and balance, and those are all good things. But when I first start off with somebody, we used to work on transitions, going back to that same drill again, one backhand, one forehand. If people are having trouble with transitions, we need to do those until they can pretty seamlessly go from a backhand to a forehand and back. So that involves footwork, maybe slight changes in their grip, and that's a good place to start. After that, we do a lot of things that are changing timing. Timing could be something like, okay, one backhand, a second shot's a forehand, and then the third shot's a forehand that's stronger. I usually say something like, okay, give me just a decent backhand, a regular forehand at about 60% effort, and then the third forehand at 90% effort. And if I'm capable on the coaching side, I'll block that back to their backhand, get them used to the ball coming back fast. They're changing the speed, but it's also coming back at them very quickly. That turns out to be a lot closer to what they're going to experience in matches than just structured drill where everything is the same speed. I've even gone so far as to have people just hit forehands over and over at me, but at 3 different speeds. We'll say slow, medium, fast, slow, medium, fast. And you can mix those up, but anything that's going to help with timing, that's a step that needs to be made, and it's surprisingly hard for people the first time they do it. Okay. The other thing is changes in spin. This is where you'll see a lot of times coach over and over feeding underspin balls to somebody in their opening with a forehand or a backhand loop. And there's a lot of ways you can do this. It can basically be all to the forehand. They can be all to the backhand, or you can mix it up, again, getting closer to the kind of randomized type shots that you're going to see when you're actually playing a match. The point is, you can take any player and customize a drill particularly for that player. Some of the drills that I will do for intermediate players, and I will also do for more advanced players. I just do them faster. Perhaps if I'm working on their forehand loop, then with the beginner who's really just learning, I don't put a ton of underspin on those shots that I give for them to open with. On a more advanced player, I'll try to give them heavy underspin and make them really have to work to get those up. One other thing, which is probably a little controversial, but I tried this out today. Most coaches wouldn't think to do this, I don't think, although I've heard that it's been done. Had a player come in today, and he really hadn't gotten a good racket yet, and I let him use a really slow defensive racket for the drills today. Kept everything really, really slow. He's a player who's going to advance fairly quickly, but not if he gets a racket that's too fast for him. We worked on getting a racket ordered that's going to fit his needs, and it'll have kind of medium speed and a little bit slower on the backhand and a little more stronger rubber on the forehand to get him used to attacking with that forehand. But it doesn't hurt to slow down and even make somebody use a slower racket for some of that. And that's, again, once he gets his racket, we don't want to do that too often. I told him, stick with the racket you got. Don't be changing around very often. You want to just make that racket feel like it's part of your body. So there's a lot of ways you can customize training to a particular player. You can one short ball, one long ball. It really depends on if you're trying to get them, work on what their strengths are, which you don't want to work on their weaknesses so much that you forget to work on their strengths. In fact, you need to work on their strengths quite a bit. If they have a really strong forehand, you want to train so that they get that shot in as often as possible. On the other hand, if there's obvious weaknesses, you got to fill in the gaps on those. So I'm a big believer in customizing the drill to the particular player, and it all depends what standard player they are, and maybe a lot of other things, their style, their age, body type. Who knows? There could be any number of things. But if you start looking for those things, either in yourself or in somebody you're coaching, you can figure out drills that really zero in on what they're needing to work on. All right. Thanks a lot. We'll see you next time.